Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good. Hello, viewers. I'm sorry for that. I've got to get used to using the microphone as a sole on its own, kind of like just their product. I'm not used to not having like this fucking corded headphone microphone. I'm not used to not having that, so it's kind of weird having like this external object away from me that I speak into and can hear from clearly, because I haven't been able to do that. But aside from that, hello viewers, my name is Zach Hardy, and welcome to my review on USW's 2017 Octane pay-per-view. As you could tell when I did the Call to Greatness review, the post Call to Greatness Intensity and Severity reviews, as well as the Octane stage preview. Octane was obviously the next stop in the road past Call to Greatness. Usually with USW, earlier in their days from like 2013, they had like 4 to 6 pay-per-views. I forgot how many. I don't know if Final Chapter and No Remorse counted, but they had at least 4 pay-per-views. And in 2014 through 2016, they tended to have 1 pay-per-view a month. And now they have 2. So each brand gets their own post-Call to Greatness pay-per-view. But for the long time in USW, they had 1 pay-per-view a month. And that pay-per-view past Call to Greatness was typically No Remorse. And usually the show would be good. I know 2014, I think it was, or 2015, wasn't that great. It was pretty bad. But aside from that, the Call to Greatness shows have been pretty solid. This year, and presumably for years coming throughout, with the USW brand split, there are going to be 2 post-Call to Greatness pay-per-views, which means there is double the amount of opportunity for a great wrestling show. Jesus. Shut the fuck up. And there are 2 opportunities for a bad Call to Greatness post pay-per-view or show, post pay-per-view, whatever. With wrestling, I typically rate it on a scale of, how was the wrestling and how was the storytelling / entertainment process. Typically, I do that for WWE. I look at the pay-per-view in whole, and I go, was there good wrestling? And was there good anything, really? Was there good entertainment? Was there good storytelling? Were there good promos? Were there good video packages? Was the entire story behind the match and of the match any good? I look at that kind of thing, and that's my version for WWE. But since USW is a little bit different, I have to look at it on an aspect of, was the wrestling good and was the storytelling good? Because USW doesn't have a concert at Call to Greatness. They have America the Beautiful, and they have Star Spangled Banner, but that's at the top of the show, and you don't see any more music. Bulletproof, they tend to have like crazy entrances, like one of my dream entrances is to fucking fly down on a helicopter into the fucking arena. And I hope to do that at some point in my life. That would be amazing. But overall, USW isn't an entertainment wrestling thing. That's their shtick. Every wrestling promotion has their shtick. WWE doesn't really have to because it's at the top of the charts. Ring of Honor has, their whole indie subsidiary thing. It's all about pure wrestling. With New Japan, they're like the biggest in Japan. They have that thing. With PWG, they don't tape their shows. You either get it on DVD or you get your ass down there. And so on and so forth. So USW's thing is, aside from not having women's wrestling, because I guess they can't find enough women's wrestlers. I mean, they have women's wrestling, training, but I doubt that'll ever go into anything like a women's division. But, the big thing that USW has is that it's not an entertainment promotion. It's strict pro wrestling. There will be a hint of like, it's like WWE Light, but really much better written. It's like what TNA was back in like 2006, 2007. honestly, for me, I like TNA more in like 2009, 2010, 2011. I thought that there was more storytelling involved there. Whether it was good or not, I just liked the fact that there was storytelling and the roster was so memorable. Or at least for me, it was very easy to remember the storytelling. I'm sorry, to remember the roster. USW has the same thing. It is kind of like they focus on storytelling, they focus on the rivalries, the feuds, and they focus on the matches. And this show should have been a culmination, or Call to Greatness was supposed to be called a culmination of many, many different rivalries, like Cannon and Alexander Rotten. It should have been like Morbid and James. Should have been Derek Carter and somebody else, so on and so forth. But that was supposed to lead up in Octane, which led to new rivalries, new feuds, more promising ventures. And I think they really tried for that here, but I don't think they really hit. I really don't think they hit a home run. The wrestling was really good, but that's about it. The storytelling was lackluster. It was mediocre, iffy at best. The matches were great. It's just the storytelling was not there. Like Tyreek Carver and Gringo. Like I'm not even interested in Gringo being in the international championship. I'm sorry, the Blue Belt championship picture. So why should I be interested in him fighting the guy? The manager of the Blue Belt champion. That's just leading up to their feud. A longer feud for them. Like why should I give a shit about Gringo in the Blue Belt title picture? Like I don't give a shit about Gringo to begin with. He doesn't have any character behind him. He's fallen off the radar ever since he and Fernandez split up. They both have been like in lackluster ways. Fernandez has kind of been passing by as a crowd favorite, but Gringo's really been like and they don't really have an idea for Gringo, which is why he's being put into here as kind of like a placeholder. Aside from that, let me just look at the card here. You had the kickoff match with Cannon was great. Whether and Ash, like they have great matches and their characters can collide pretty well, but the storytelling is just not there per se. Philip Akron in Washington, I like that. Sammy North and Act Justice, why should I care about either of them? Jack Ramsey, Nelson Cole, Andrew Morris, and Andrew Palmer, why should I care about either of them? Alexander Rotten versus Dwayne Porter. I mean, it would go for great wrestling, but still. And Ezra Hills, Benny Franklin, and Derek Carter, that's just like, what's going to happen. Derek Carter dropped the title to Ezra Hills, and now Ezra Hills is, the USW champion. Why would he lose it back to him a month later? I know it's possible, and I know it's happened in pro wrestling, but USW is not that way, where they kind of hot potato their titles. So it's awkward to see what goes on with this Octane card, because it was really good wrestling, and from a hardcore wrestling fan standpoint, you'd say, oh, this is going to be a great couple of months for the brand, and etc. But honestly, at least half the feuds on this card, I just did not give a fuck for. Like, I mean, they may have charisma between both performers. They might have some sort of response to each other's movesets and ways of working, but I mean, I look at it and I just think to myself, like, it could provide good wrestling, but I like storytelling as well. And part of the reason why I'm still watching USW now that I'm not wrestling for them anymore is because they're one of the only promotions, independent promotions, that provide good storytelling. Like there's Ring of Honor. I don't really watch in Japan anymore, but there's Ring of Honor. There is What Culture Pro Wrestling, which I don't watch too often. And there's USW. Aside from that, WWE or TNA is the best you can get, or Impact Wrestling. And honestly, USW, out of the three of them, probably has the best storytelling, because Ring of Honor focuses on wrestling and its pure standpoint and purist standpoint. But USW is what every guy that can't get one of those big spots, that's the place they want to go. They can get a good salary, a good pay, and have an opportunity to kind of show what they're worth and show how good they are in the ring and what they can do before they move on to other things. But many times, performers don't want to move on to anything. Like Prophecy, Western Light, Yo-Yo Joe, Anarchy, Ash, Derek Carter, Dwayne Porter, Dustin Raymond, they didn't go anywhere else. They wanted to stay in Ultimate Showcase Wrestling because it gave them a good pay, which they really can't get from many other places. And it gave them a way to branch out and do something with an audience, which is the benefit of USW. Sorry for the spiel, but with Octane, I feel as though it kind of showed how weak the Intensity brand has really become. It's gone from being the only show in USW and the best show that USW puts on every single week, because they had like a house show every week or whatever. But it went from being the USW show to sharing the spotlight with Severity and fighting for views and for booking placement, to being second fiddle to Severity, to now being watered down and a little drained out. Like, you have Canon, you have Morbid, you have Derek Carter, you have James, you have Ash, you have so many guys that are available in Washington. They'll have Akron to put on great matches. And they're just, the thing is, it's that they're not being given necessarily the best thing to work with. If I was in charge of USW, I'd be booking within guys that I know could be able to have a good story and be able to provide pro wrestling, but also have it make sense. With Derek Carter, with Dwayne Porter and Alexander Rotten, they only started feuding because Dwayne Porter attacked Alexander Rotten after a tag team match, and they didn't really do much with it over the past couple of weeks. It was just he attacked him, and then they went back and forth fighting. It's like, build something up special to that. Give Dwayne Porter like this sense of cocky manner. Give Alexander Rotten this face push. Make him a bigger face than most of the guys on the roster. Have him be a legitimate face, right? You don't have many of those on Intensity. You have Morbid, you have Cannon, you have Ezra Kills, you have Ash. But aside from that, very few. Build up that roster. But you have two heels going up against each other in one of the final matches of the show, and while they do put on good wrestling, it really feels like it has no fucking meaning. So that was pretty much Octane in a nutshell. It was feuds that didn't really fucking make sense, but it had the opportunity for good wrestling, and it made me kind of worry that, because Intensity and Severity have two different booking teams, it made me worry that the Intensity booking team is looking to structure more on wrestling than they are storytelling. Because Severity is kicking ass in wrestling, and it's kicking ass in storytelling. Intensity has really great wrestling, great wrestling than Severity, but the storytelling is not on par. So I'm worried that both shows are going to have two different dynamics, and I don't like that, because I like having it both fight out. It's kind of like if you had TNA and WWE sharing a roster, but one brand was like a promotion, or one promotion was like a brand, the other was like another brand, and they were doing the same thing, but you wanted to see who would come out on top, who had the better roster, who had the better booking team. I liked that. And I don't like the idea of it going into a spiral where it's just pro wrestling here, storytelling here, or great pro wrestling here, decent or good wrestling and good storytelling here. Like, I don't want it to split up. Like, that's my thing. So that's my point on that. But I've ranted for beyond long enough, and this microphone must be on fire with all the fucking words I've just spewed into it. Anyway, so I guess we can just get into the card now. I'm sorry if it's bright. I really am. Let me see something. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to keep it at this brightness. I feel as though I can see enough, and you guys don't have to see the light on my face. Okay, so we get into the kickoff match of the show, and it's Cannon's Open Challenge. If you don't know, a couple of weeks ago, Cannon was upset that he didn't have a match on the card, So he went to Kyle Reese Jr. and I say Kyle Reese Jr. Because I'm constantly used to calling him Junior when I walk, because I always walk by her and I see Senior and Junior, so I call him Senior and Junior. So that's just a thing. I know a lot of people are like, well, why the fuck do you do that? It was your boss, just call him Kyle. But that's just the way I refer to him. So I'm sorry if that's a little too of a swipe for you. That's not a word. So Cannon goes to his office and requests pretty much a challenger for Octane. And Kyle is like, all right, if you want competition, then I will find you the best competition. He is the best competition, so he'll find him the best competition. And for the kickoff match, Cannon walks out, and then Morbid walks out. So Morbid, for the first time in like 3 weeks, so I would have liked for it to be a return, but, well, technically it is kind of a return, but I would have liked it to be like a debut, or like a big return, like Dustin Raymond, or Simon Saint, or fucking anybody. But Morbid walks out, and Morbid versus Cannon is the first match on the card. It's a pretty fucking great match to start out the show. You had some really good powerhouse wrestling from Morbid, and that was countered by some really good technical wrestling by Cannon. So I'm very happy to see that both of them can still work together very well, even if it's at the start of the match. The match was really good, and it ended with probably one of the best finishing spots to a match I've ever seen in USW. Cannon, his finisher is where he will run up to you, put one foot on your chest, in like a backflip position. Like it's like, shut up! It's like you are a wall. He's going to like do a backflip off of you, but he steps on your like stomach, chest area once, and then kicks you in the jaw, and you get knocked back. Then he climbs, and then he does the backflip from that. But then he climbs up to the top rope, and he does another backflip and lands on his knees on your stomach, and then does like a roll through. So Cannon hits the kick, the first part of the cannonball backflip, and Morbid goes down. He's a little stunned. Cannon sees that he's getting back up. He goes to the top rope, goes for the cannonball backflip as he's standing up, possibly like lands his knees on his shoulders or whatever, and I guess a Hurricanrana or something like that, a reverse Rana, and goes up, and midway through backflip position, Morbid catches him on his shoulder, puts him in the pile driver position, and pile drives his ass into the fucking mat. 1, 2, 3. Like, it was fucking insane, because it's not like he caught him on his shoulder and took a little time to like set him up. He caught him on his shoulder, put him in, and tombstone the fuck out of him. Tombstone. Pile driver. He pile drove him. I'm sorry. I'm used to calling it the tombstone. But he fucking pile drived his ass right into the fucking mat. And it was amazing, because I had never seen that fucking thing before. The one time I ever saw a great counter from the cannonball backflip, I mean, I may be wrong, but the one great one I saw was Majigeta. After he did the cannonball backflip, he went and hit the decapitator on him, and Cannon went up and laid out. It was fucking amazing. So this was a step up from that, and I really enjoyed it. Great ending to the match, and as soon as he caught him, the crowd went ballistic, and then he hit a tombstone, and the crowd chanted 1, 2, 3 at the top of it once. Probably the loudest 1, 2, 3 count of the night. That's a big thing with USW crowds. They just go 1, 2, 3, and they just yell 3 as soon as the 3 is counted. It's amazing. Watch it for yourself, or actually live in the crowd for yourself. That is an amazing moment. So Morbid wins, and walks up the ramp, kind of like a smug, as he just walks up as the lights are kind of dim. The lights are dim for him, just letting you know that. And Cannon's just in the ring with his eyes closed, looking up, not having it, kind of annoyed. And you know what? If I were him, I would be too. I'm that close to hitting my own finishing maneuver to end the match, and I fall crap right into another finishing maneuver, and I lose that way. I I feel the same way. But, again, story progression, so, yeah. 4-star match. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Great way to open the show. Man, it didn't really go uphill from here. It was like a steady decline until like maybe a small lift. It's like a line down and then a small lift. But yeah, great way to start the show. Gave me unmatchable expectations for the remainder of the show. That's about it. We get into the second match straight off the whatever. Red Belt Championship match. Ash defends against Weiler. I believe Ash beat Weiler at Call of Greatness, if I'm not mistaken. Anywho, Weiler walks into this match pretty much more deranged than he was. He had a long-term reign with the Red Belt title. And the Red Belt title was kind of like his way of proving himself. He's kind of been in the mid-card and just there for a while. So it was his way of kind of being able to prove that he can break out and be a much higher mid-carder. And he got that taken away from him at the worst possible time at Call of Greatness. And I mean, the more I think about it, the more as this feud goes on, the more I kind of find it sensical and logical. So Ash took what he thought he could use to prove himself, and he took that opportunity from him. And Weiler, I guess, does not respect that, and he does not appreciate that, and he wants revenge for him taking pretty much what could end up being his career from him. So he goes into this match, and he's a little bit more deranged. He's, over the past couple of weeks, you've seen maybe a screw or two fall loose from Weiler, and I like this because USW sociopaths and psychopaths tend out to be really good booking strategies. I mean, you saw Washington after he lost to Morbid 3 or 4 times in a row. He was like, lost. Then Washington went, fuck it, I'm done, and beat the shit out of everybody. And that led up to their, I'm not mistaken. I don't believe Morbid fought Western Light, by the way. I think it was Washington. I think I've been calling Washington Western Light this entire time. I'm sorry. Anyway. So I like this idea of Weiler being more and more deranged as time goes on. Like, he keeps, like, a screw falls loose, then 2 more fall loose, and another one falls loose, then another one falls loose after that. I like that idea. I like that story. Yeah, that kind of storytelling. But it was a pretty decent match. 3.5 stars. Weiler. Weiler gives off a really good performance. It's a really, really good match. I'm sorry, it's a really, really good performance in a pretty good match. He's fighting his ass off. It's like a 20-minute match. So he's fighting through it. And I mean, I really hope he continue with the whole loose screw thing, because I think it's working, or it could work. But Ash gets himself disqualified. Kicks Weiler with a low blow. It's like, if anybody watches TNA and knew Decay, the stable of Decay, you would think that this would kind of be Abyss kicking Crazy Steve in the balls. It's like you don't really feel sympathy for either of them, but you're starting to hate one more than the other. So Ash kicks him with a low blow and kind of slowly starts a heel turn. And he takes the Red Belt title with him after he loses via disqualification. It's a 3-star match. Now, 3-star match. 3-star match. probably would have been a 3.5-star match had the ending been a little bit better. But I'm not gonna complain. It was enjoyable, to say the least. So we get into the third match. Tyreek Carver versus Gringo. This match wasn't too good. Tyreek Carver did whatever he could to work well, and Gringo is a pretty solid performer at that. But you look at it in this case, these two didn't seem to have any chemistry. They seemed to be, I guess they didn't seem to really care that the fucking match was going on. They didn't really give a shit about the performance whatsoever. Overall, I didn't like the match, and I don't think anybody did. I'm going to give it 2 stars. I don't really want to talk about the match any more than I have to. I'm just going to say Tyreek Carver beats Gringo. With a lariat, nonetheless. So, Tyreek Carver loses. I'm sorry, Tyreek Carver beats Gringo with lariat. Again, don't really want to talk about this match because I just didn't enjoy it. And it really saddens me because this is like Tyreek Carver's first big match, and they're pushing him to do good things, possibly feud with Philip Akron for the blue belt title. I hope he improves. I really hope he improves. Gringo is a pretty good performer, and Tyreek Carver did what he could, but it didn't really do all that much. So we're just gonna move on. Fourth match on the card, blue belt championship. Philip Akron defends against Washington. The match was good. It had another screwy finish, but the match was good. Philip Akron is quickly proving to be one of my favorite characters in the Intensity brand. I think this feud with Washington can propel both of them to great things. Philip Akron has definitely proven his worth to me over the past couple of months as the blue belt champion. I've liked seeing what he can do with the title. I've liked seeing what he can do with this whole character of I'm powerful, I have a blue belt title, I'm important, I have a manager, bodyguard, don't fuck with me, I'll fuck you up, that kind of thing. I like that. That's an interesting character side. Aside from that, on a different note, Philip Akron seems to be in a position where if he were to lose that blue belt title, he'd kind of lose his character as well. I don't like when USW or any promotion, mostly USW does this, where they build a performer's character around the championship they're holding. Very few times it works. You know, some would say with the New Day and their record-breaking championship tag team title reign, one would say that reign was kind of like their character for a while. It's what they relied on to get over. And I don't think without that, they've really become anything special. Like before they had that character, I thought they did an amazing job with the other heel run and everything. But I just did not think that the New Day afterwards was any interesting without their kind of title feud. Aside from that, that kind of reminds me of the Philip Akron angle. Like his angle is, I'm important because I have this championship. Look at me, I'm important. See, I'm important. I have this championship. I'm important. And that's kind of his shtick. It's kind of his thing. And I don't like that. Because sooner or later, Philip Akron will have to lose that title. And, again, Philip Akron is a great performer. And I'm sure if he were to lose a blue belt title, he'd find some sort of way to I don't know, get into the world championship picture with it, or something. I just don't think the character would go along very, very well without that title. You know, I'm important because I have this. What happens when you don't have that? I'm important because I have short blonde hair and wear baggy tights as my ring attire, and I have one elbow pad. You know, that makes me special. Like, it really doesn't. So, I like the character. That's my rant on, you know, his character, though. Aside from that, he's a really good in-ring performer, and I'm sure if he didn't have the blue belt title, he'd probably transition into something else. But, for what it is, or for what it was, pretty solid match. 3.5 stars. Well, I'm sorry, 3 stars. I would give it 3.5 stars for the ending. Not Ben Akron kind of cheating to win. He used a wrench from under the ring behind the referee's back to steal a win from Washington. That's going to continue the feud, and yeah, that's going to be that. So Akron's still the blue belt champion. 5th match, Sam North versus Knack Justice. It ends in a no contest. There was really nothing to talk about. It was a fucking 7 or 8 minute match. Samuel North and Knack Justice. Sorry, getting tired. Samuel North and Knack Justice, they had a decent match for what it was. Can't really give it a star rating. I'll give it 2 stars if I had to. The Stargazers actually run out of during the match and turn heel by attacking both of them for no fucking reason. And then they both drive North and Justice through commentators' tables on the outside before being escorted out of the building by security. So, yeah. No fucking sense there. I don't see what the fuck made sense there. I don't want to see what the fuck made sense there. I think this is a way of establishing another tag team for more opportunities in a feud. Aside from that, I'm going to move on because I honestly don't know what to think about this. Why would the Stargazers, a decent team with below average booking, attack 2 mid-carders? I get that they didn't earn a shot at the USW tag titles, but that's no reason to attack 2 mid-carders for nothing. You know, I think it was pointless. It was stupid. You could have built another tag team up to feud with the Stargazers without having some nonsensical booking. But, then again, I'm not in those meetings. I'm not on the USW booking team for either brand, as much as I'd like to be. I think I'd make a pretty damn good show. But, I mean, what can I do? What can you do but watch, I guess? If I were booking it, I guess I would have, and I wanted to have Samuel North and Knack Justice as a team. Excuse me, sorry. What would I do? I guess I would have North and Justice fight another tag team in a number 1 contenders match for the tag titles, and then have the Stargazers attack one team and that team gets to be the number one contender or number one contenders, and the other team, Knack and Justice, get pissed off at that. So Stargazers could be faces, they could have good booking, and North and Justice get to kind of attack them for fucking them over. So that would be kind of the direction I'd kind of take it. Not just two fuckers. we're gonna screw them over, yeah. Yeah, damn right. Alright, run down the ring, beat them up. Bye! Bye, everybody! We're leaving now. I mean, that makes no fucking sense. That's why this title of the review is Good Wrestling, That's About It. Or not much else. Yeah, that makes no fucking sense, but we're gonna go on anyway. So, the sixth match on the card was for the USW Tag Team Championships. Jack Ramsey and Austin Cole defend against Andrew Morris and Andrew Palmer. This match was... How do I say this without making myself look like an asshole? Or without making myself look like a dumb shit? You know what? Fuck it. I'm not one to refute myself being a dumb shit. I just think it's too easy to call myself a dumb shit. But when I am a dumb shit, I own up to it. I am a stupid motherfucker because this match was probably the best match on the card. By fucking far. And I mean, it excelled 4 stars. This was a tag team match that made me want to see Intensity get the tag team division on their show and have it be their show only. Because it was just pure fucking awesomeness. Like, and at the same time, I was an idiot because I was like, Andrew Palmer and Andrew Morris are a jobber tag team. They don't stand much of a chance. At some point during the match, I thought these fuckers may actually pull it out. Since when did pro wrestling become jobber friendly? I got this close from thinking, holy shit, we're about to have relatively a jobber tag team as the tag team champions. It was insane. This was kind of like the Revival versus DIY. It was great, or the Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa. I really liked this match. It was pure amazement from me, and pure action and adrenaline and great classic wrestling. Or not classic wrestling, but great, like, 2000s wrestling where you have like a 30-minute match and it goes on and there's like one person's in control, then another person's in control, then the other person's in control, then that person's in control, then a pin, then a fucking kick out, then another pin, then a break up, and then then the momentum switches, pinfall, kick out, momentum switches, pinfall, break up, momentum switches, pinfall, break up, momentum switches, pinfall, kick out, pinfall, kick out, pinfall, kick out, momentum switches, pinfall, kick out. It was amazing. I just did a fucking circle around myself. It was amazing. I just don't know how else I can say it other than the fact that this was one of my favorite tag team matches in USW history. And I really liked this. Sorry. Just wow. I don't know what else to say about it. It was just one of those wrestling matches that made me proud to be a USW fan. Because there's just such great wrestling. And storytelling is on par. And it makes me proud to be not only a USW fan, but a wrestling fan in general. So yeah. And the ending was pretty like classic Ramsey and Cole, just chucking their opponents out, capitalizing opportunities, pinfall from like a roll up and a win. So Jack Ramsey and Austin Cole win. They retain the USW Tag Team Championships, and can I give it 6 stars? I'm just kidding. I don't think I'd give it 6 stars. My 6-star rating, 6 stars. I'd have to really see that your match was one of the best matches I've ever taken part in witnessing. I'm not going to give it 6 stars. Do I give it 5 stars? Do I give it 5 stars? If I'm going to give it 5 stars, was the match great from start to finish? Did it have its moments? Did it have its momentum? Did it have me on the edge of my seat? Did it have a great ending? All these things go into a 5-star match. And if those things are just beyond excelling what's on par, or what is usual from a 5-star match, then it's a 6-star match. Do I give it a 5-star match? The ending was great. The match itself was great. Had me on the edge of my seat. Storytelling was there. You know what? The match was really good. I can't deny it. But with the match from start to end, I don't think I can give it anything less than 5 stars. 4.5 stars would even be injustice. This match was definitely a 5-star match. Best match on the card tonight. If I said the same thing about Cannon and Morbid, I'm sorry. I must have completely forgot that I had a tag team match to talk about. But this match was definitely a match of the night. And probably for me, tag team match of the year. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was a really good match, and I am glad I got to watch it. It was awesome, and 5 stars. Great job. Yeah. So, we get into the 7th match. And it's Alexander Rodden versus Blaine Porter. This match, I liked 3 stars, but the storytelling was just not there. There was really no reason for them to fight other than Dwayne Porter was cranky, which is kind of like the equivalent of Jay Leno stealing his show back from Conan O'Brien because he felt like he wanted to go back to work, or he felt like he wanted it back, whatever. So. I didn't mind the match. I didn't mind it being on the card. I didn't like the fact that it was second to last on the card. But, if you're going to have Alexander Rodden turn face, which I hope they do, and have Dwayne Porter kind of be a badass heel that everybody can actually think of as a credible threat, because he's not really a credible threat at the moment. He's not being booked as a credible threat at the moment. He's kind of being booked to just be there, and he's kind of like that placeholder for something better. I think these two could have a great feud if the story was there and if the aura changed. If Dwayne Porter was a badass heel that could kick ass whenever the fuck he wanted, and Alexander Rodden was a badass face and he just beat the shit out of everybody, but did for I don't know, a good reason. I don't know how you'd book a badass a badass who beats people up as a face. That would be one of my biggest, that would be one of my biggest challenges as a booker. I mean, I'm not sure how everybody else would be able to book that. Maybe it's easy for some guys. But this match was good. Three stars, 3.5 stars. I'll give it 3.5 stars because the wrestling was there. And the ending was interesting. The ending was Alexander Rotten locking in the Rot, and he can't hold on to it because for too long because his shoulder was beaten down through the entire match. Porter then sinks the sinking elbow. Ha 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 ha. And he then he an elbow to the face, and then a knee to the back of the head, and man, he went, I guess, got cocky, and wait, hold on, did I write this wrong? I wrote it wrong, didn't I? I wrote it wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Dwayne Porter did beat Alexander Rodden, I believe. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Is it bad that I forgot what the outcome was? Is it bad? It happened less than 24 hours ago, and I think I'm already losing track. No, fucking Alexander Rodden won. Oh my God. I'm looking at my notes, and I'm like, wait, it says Alexander Rodden beat Dwayne Porter. But in my notes, I have the ending of the match. Dwayne Porter kicking the shit out of Rodden. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I never finished the fucking notes. So I just went to the next match without finishing the notes. It literally ends with Rodden locks in the Rot, but cannot hold on for too long because his shoulder was hurt earlier in the match, leaving Porter to hit a sinking elbow to the skull and a knee to the back of the head. That's it. And I know I didn't finish the notes because there's no period at the end of it. And I always end my sentence with a period. Whether it's on social media or Instagram or Facebook or my girlfriend, that's a period joke. Hope you get it. Anyway, I always end my grammatical sentences with a period. So that definitely was a missed part on my. I'm sorry for the confusion. It was, to my extent, not my favorite thing from Octane. I did pay the least attention to it. Jesus Christ, I'm hungry. But nevertheless, yeah, Alexander Rodden did one. What happened after he hit the knee to the back of the head? Porter, I think, got cocky. I think he went like he was gloating into the audience, whatever. I think then he went to the top rope. I think he tried to hit another sinking elbow. I'm pretty sure he missed. And then Alexander Rodden dropped himself on him. And I think he locked in the Rot. And I think it was with one arm or whatever. And then Alexander Rodden made Dwayne Porter tap out. I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Did I miss anything? No, that's what happened. Dwayne Porter gloated for like a minute and a half. Went to the top rope. Missed. Got like a ton of bricks dropped on him. Then locked in. Got tapped out. Got tapped out. Okay, so yeah. Dwayne Porter did tap out to Alexander Rodden. Alexander Rodden did win. Okay. I am sorry. I was tired last night. I somehow stayed up till 3:30 in the morning. But I was tired. So, anyway. I was up till 3:30 in the morning. And I woke up at 11:30. Ooh, boy. So, yeah, that's about that. This is about to be an hour long. Jesus Christ. Let's get into the main event of the card. By the way, Rodden, Porter, 3.5 stars. Main event of the evening for the USW Championship. Ezra Kills with Benny Franklin in his corner defending the USW Championship against Derek Carter. So the match is good from start to finish. Ezra Hills was pulling his weight. Carter was making him look good. Franklin refused to get involved. at least for the majority of the match. Derek Carter did a lot of gloating. Ezra and Kills did a lot of gloating towards Derek Carter. I mean, Carter did a lot of gloating towards the audience. Ezra and Kills did a lot of gloating towards Carter. And even the opening tie-up with Carter doing the collar and elbow tie-up and then the hip toss and then getting up and doing this. Like what I used to do. Like I used to do the whole arm swiveling, leg to the side, stomp. I'm here, bitches. That was my kind of thing. Derek Carter did the same. Crowd get a little annoyed. So, I mean, they started booing, and then Carter would do another thing, or do another hip toss, and then he'd do another, woo, I'm here, bitches. And so I call it I call it the I'm here, bitches. Never called it that when I was with USW. I call it that now because I never had a name for it. And at this point, the crowd was getting a little annoyed. Then he does another hip toss. He goes, oh, and Ezra and Kills fucking drop kicks him in the fucking face, and Carter goes down, goes to the ropes, a little stunned. So Ezra and Kills, I guess, goes back into the collar and elbow tie up and down to the shoulder, brings him up, and goes. I whispered no because it's what you could hear over video because obviously they don't have microphones attached to their face, so you can't go no, but you heard no. So it was interesting. But he goes no, just so you can hear me. I like that. That was an interesting little way of pandering to the crowd. The crowd got behind him. Ezra and Kills looked good throughout the entire match, and then Carter, as Ezra and Kills is going to the top rope, takes his leg out from underneath him. Really dangerous spot because Hills could have fallen off the turnbuckle post and just fallen head first onto the floor below, but he swipes his leg out and then catches him and then has a hip toss. Not a hip toss, a kind of like a sideways belly to belly, and runs over to the pin. And he goes over to the pin. 1, 2. Hills gets his foot on the rope, and the referee counts the 3 count. So at this point, you're thinking, "Oh, fucking hell! You're gonna give Carter the title back when Ezra and Kills can do a lot with it." And they do everything to make you think that Carter wins, and the crowd, because they're not seeing it live, they didn't get the close up of his foot on the rope. They think, "Holy shit! Did Derek Carter just take the title back?" And they do everything. They have fucking what's his name, Mark something or whatever. They go, "Your winner and the new Ultimate Showcase Wrestling Champion, Derek Carter." And the crowd is starting to boo. Derek Carter gets out of the ring, goes up, his music hits. And at this point, you're thinking, "Oh, you're fucking kidding me. They're actually going to play a dusty finish on us." And then the referee is looking at like the monitor or whatever. And he's doing this to the ring announcer. Derek Carter's walking up the stage. By the way, the stage I predicted for Octane, not very accurate. They had a big O on the side, and they had like a curtain with like a bar over the top of it, like a big Motiontron bar over it. Kind of sad, but referee runs over to the side of the ring and then runs up the thing and up the ramp, turns Carter around, goes, "No, foot on the rope, get back in the ring." Match continues. He takes the title. Carter can't really take the title back from him because that's technically assaulting a referee, at least from like 2013 standards. My bad. So he gives up the title, and Carter just marches back down to the ring. And the referee reverses the decision and brings the bell back again. And then Carter gets in the ring, and Hills plants Carter with a DDT, and then goes to the top rope and hits a 450 splash. And I mean, at that point, I'm thinking, so when the fuck did Ezra and Kills do a 450 splash? What? I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. I've never seen that before. And I enjoyed that. And Hills he looks in astonishment. He's like, "I pulled that off." And he goes to the pinfall. He goes 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. And Ezra and Kills gets the pinfall win. Crowd goes home happy. They're cheering because they actually thought Carter was going to be walking out with the title. They didn't like that. Ezra and Kills walks out with the title. Happy ending for all. Really good match. I was gonna give it 3.5 stars for it's way through the match. I'm gonna give it 4 stars because it just showed how much Ezra and Kills can puts into his work and puts into his craft and can hang with the big guys. So it really shined a big light on Ezra and Kills as a performer. And I'm really happy that worked out the way it did because it gives the endless amount of possibilities for Ezra and Kills to be built up like a big star. And I think he really can be one of the key points in Ultimate Showcase Wrestling, in my opinion. That is definitely the way I see it going for Ezra and Kills. And aside from that, there's not that's where the show ends. Ezra and Kills has got the title in the ring. Carter is moping up the ramp, and the crowd is going happy, and Octane ends at that. So with that being said, as you know, I usually at the end of these pay-per-view reviews, I go, was it for the USW ones because they have a specific system. I mean, for the WWE ones, I very rarely do a review on WWE pay-per-views. I'm gonna start doing reviews on WWE pay-per-views though now instead of live reactions. I'll do those for SummerSlam, and then I'll do SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, possibly Survivor Series, but I'll do those, and then I'll also probably do a review on those afterwards. But for WWE reviews, I'm more than likely going to be doing what rating was it on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, or 0 to 5 stars, and aside from that, would I pay $9.99 a month, or would I pay $9.99 a month for the show, and would I pay to watch the show over again, considering the WWE Network's in play? With this, and with USW pay-per-views, I go, what was the rating of the show on a scale of 0 to 5? 0 to 5 stars. Would I pay the amount to watch it, or to buy it, or to rent it? I'm sorry. To rent it is the same amount that you would on the show's release. So this show is $20, so $19.99. Would I pay to rent it, and would I pay another $5 to be able to download it? With this show, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I think the show had really good wrestling, and I don't think I can give it anything below 3 stars. I don't think I can give this wrestling pay-per-view anything below 3 stars for having pretty good wrestling. I'll give it 3.5 stars for the tag team match. I'll be kind. I'll be generous. Aside from that, storytelling again was not there. It was a disappointing show compared to what I had in mind for Octane. Aside from that, it seemed to draw in really good numbers. So 3.5 stars for the pay-per-view in total. Would I pay $20 to rent it? Probably not. If you have not seen it yet, I would not recommend you spend your money on watching it. It was not worth it. If you're a pro wrestler, even if you're a fan who's just into it for pro wrestling, good pro wrestling, the one good thing about the show was the tag team match. The kickoff match was really good, and the main event was really good, but 3 good matches on a 3-hour show is not worth it. Even if those matches combined for about half the show, it's still not worth $20. And of course, it also means, would I pay $5 to download? Excuse me. Would I pay $5 to download it? No, I wouldn't spend any extra money. I mean, this show is probably worth $10. Worth $9.99. I wouldn't pay $15 for it. I wouldn't pay $20 for it. I'd probably pay $10 for it. And I think $5 for it would be kind of like a steal. So, with that being said, that is my review on USW Octane 2017. In the comments below, please tell me how you thought about this show. And think, if you have any opinions that differ from mine, let's say you don't believe that the Ezra and Kills, Benny Franklin, Derek Carter ending was any good, or that the match wasn't as good as I said, or that there's a better tag team match in USW history, I'd love to hear your response and your feedback. So in the comments below, please write whatever you'd like about the show and about USW, how about the channel, whatever. So with that being said, Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. I am Zach Hardy. I'm signing off. My mouse was not even near the stop broadcast button. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.